I've been really curious about which African countries are least dependent on the West. So I did a bit of digging and turned it into a countdown. This is really interesting. My name is Noreen and this is Real Africa Stories. So when I say dependent, I'm talking about countries that rely less on Western aid, Western loans, or Western institutions to make their big decisions. This isn't about who's doing things perfectly. It's about who has more room to say no. So let's do the countdown. At number 10, Botswana. Botswana made a quiet but powerful decision early on. It kept strong state control over its diamonds instead of handing them over completely to foreign companies. That meant steady national income, not short-term payouts. Less aid, more self-funding. Botswana still works with Western countries, of course, but it doesn't rely on them to function. So next, at number 9, Namibia. Namibia follows a similar line of thinking. Mining and natural resources are tightly regulated. The state keeps a firm hand in key sectors. Aid exists, but it isn't what holds the economy up. There's more internal control than people often assume. Now, at number 8, Morocco. Morocco took a different route. It diversified early: agriculture, phosphates, manufacturing, tourism. It invested heavily in South-South trade, especially across Africa. So even though it trades closely with Europe, its economy isn't shaped entirely around Western approval. Coming in at number 7, Ghana. Ghana is more complex. It has relied on IMF programs, yes, but it's also been actively trying to reduce that dependence. More regional trade, more focus on adding value to cocoa instead of exporting it raw. So while dependency still exists, there's a visible effort to change direction. At number 6, Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't depend heavily on Western aid. Its funding comes mainly from oil and internal revenue. The challenge here isn't dependence, it's about how wealth is managed and distributed. But in terms of financing itself, Nigeria isn't waiting on donors. Now, number 5, Ethiopia. Ethiopia has always been protective of its sovereignty. The Grand Ethiopian Resonance Dam says a lot. It was largely funded by Ethiopians themselves because foreign funding would have meant foreign control. That decision brought pressure and backlash, but it also meant ownership. At number 4, Rwanda. Rwanda is very intentional. It limits aid dependency by design and focuses heavily on tax collection, planning and services. It accepts foreign partnerships, but on tightly negotiated terms. It's not loud about independence, it's methodical. Coming in at number 3, Algeria. Algeria doesn't always get mentioned, but it should. Oil and gas fund the state, not Western aid. And because of its history with France, there's deep resistance to outside interference. Algeria trades with the West, but doesn't structure its economy around donors. At number 2, Tanzania. Tanzania moves slowly but deliberately. It renegotiated mining contracts, increased state ownership, and pushed back on extractive deals. This isn't about isolation, it's about saying our resources come with conditions. And finally, at number 1, Eritrea. Eritrea is the clearest example of non-dependence. It avoids IMF and World Bank loans almost entirely and receives very little foreign aid. That choice brings real hardship, but it also means no externally written economic policy. Its budget is decided internally, for better, for all, for worse. What really stood out for me while digging into this is that dependency isn't about poverty. It's about who decides, who controls debt, who owns resources, who sets the long-term direction. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Is development still development if someone else is steering it? And if your country is not on the list, maybe more questions need to be asked. This is the Africa You're Not Shown. I'm here to show you.